Hi everyone, and welcome to the Aries Weekly Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome. So these readings are meant to engage you with the Triad of Engagement, which utilizes the three core principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation to help unlock and bring awareness to your unique internal authentic self and how some aspect of that needs to be engaged with the external environment this week to help you better experience and further your personal spiritual purpose and potential. All right, so Virgo, I'm going to go ahead and I'm sorry, Virgo. I just filmed Virgos before this. Interesting that I said that because that could mean that you are interacting with a Virgo, I'm not sure. But Aries. So as I'm pulling a card here, we are going to be stepping into the energy of curiosity. So the core principle of curiosity asks us to break through all of those kind of negative thought patterns that develop as we move from childhood into adulthood, where we stop being curious like a child. We start to use phrases like, well, when I do that, this always happens. Or when I engage with this type of person, this always happens. And we want to break through that. We want to go back to that kind of experience of looking at life with awe and wonder again. And really stepping into realizing that we don't know everything about ourselves and we don't know everything about our external environment, and we never will. We will always be learning on some level about ourselves within as well as our experience without. So what we're going to do here is we're going to build a question. So we're working with curiosity, and curiosity is all about asking questions. So we're going to build a question around the energies of these cards so that you can bring what is a very general reading and make it an individualized one for yourself this week by asking yourself, keeping in mind this question as you move through the week, so that by the end of the week, in trying to answer this question for yourself, you will have brought awareness to some aspect of your experience that is unique to you. All right, so we have two really interesting cards here. We have, actually great cards, and I love that they're both orange. And orange is the power to me. I'm just going to say this right off the bat. The orange is, for me, it is often associated with your sacral chakra, which is, kind of in what I would consider like right below the belly. It's where, if you're a woman, you would have your uterus. So it's kind of, it's our seat of creation and creativity. And I always feel that it's also the seat of, for us, truly our emotional connection with who we are. Some people think that's through the heart. And the heart ultimately is where we feel into life, but we really get a chance to emotionally connect through our sacral chakra to our unique ability to create, which is directly tied to our spiritual purpose. So I've noticed myself personally that when people have the sacral chakra blocked, that is when they are very disconnected from their external, from being able to feel any type of meaning or purpose and connection to that in their life, because they're not able to see or feel their own creative potential in their life and in how that ties into the external environment. So the two cards here that we have is have fun, and it says stop. When was the last time you had fun? When was the last time you took a chance and did something silly, something totally unlike you, something just for the joy of it? It's long overdue for you to let go of your analytical mind and give yourself and your soul permission to have fun. And then it says embrace the moment. I love these two cards are like so perfect with each other. Have fun and embrace the moment. And it says embrace this day, this very moment. Think positively today and repel those negative thoughts. Try not to judge yourself or others. This may be harder than you think. What is actually happening is that you're changing your energy. So Aries, you are a card that is all about, you're a sign, you're the cardinal fire sign, and you're all about action, taking action towards, so your motto as an astrological sign is I am. So you're all about taking action in a way that represents you, or that will help you to better discover who you are and express that in the world. And that's really coming through with this creative component and a tie to the sacral chakra that I think you guys have been for a while disconnected from that realization that you create your reality. You have something unique to creatively express in this world. But it needs to be fun. It needs to be, I feel like you guys have been disconnected from the present moment for a while, and that maybe you're just getting back to engaging with that fun, creative side to yourself again. But for those of you who haven't gotten back into that place, I feel like this is that kind of message from the divine of it's time. It's time to stop looking down the line, kind of living from that place of, well, when that happens, when I do this, when these things line up, and it's like, no. That robs you of living in the present. That robs you of actually enjoying yourself in the moment. And again, being able to see how you engage in that present moment with your experience, how you are the creator of your experience. Actually in the Virgo message, I was telling them that there is a part that we sometimes forget, that we are the hero of our own story, that we're the ones that create, we get to rise up, meet our situations, and therein doing and acting from a place of courage, we get to make our world. We get to courageously be the hero of our story. And I think you guys need to hear that a little bit, that you have the power to create for yourself what you want to manifest. Because each one of us holds that ability, and it can be seen in our sacral chakra specifically, but we each hold the ability to create something unique and special that directly ties to what we would like to experience in the external environment. So meaning, if you really want to be a writer in your external environment, well, you hold the ability to create on some level that will tie into that hope or dream of you wanting to be a writer. And it might not be that you are the single-handedly best writer that's ever been. It might be that you are able to simply create a plot line or a storyline that is so amazing. It doesn't matter if you're not the best speller or you don't know how to use punctuation. I mean, there are ways to get around that nowadays. There's spell check, and there's all kinds of software that can help, look for, any type of grammatical mistakes and things like that. That we shouldn't block ourselves off in the moment from wanting to fearlessly use our creativity to further a hope or dream out there. And we can lose sight of that because, especially Aries, I would say you guys, because you are so focused on taking action from a place that will identify who you are in the world, you tend to be hyper judgmental. And actually, which is interesting, I really feel like you guys either are, there have some tie to a Virgo, or that you're really stepping into the energy of Virgo right now. Because Virgos can also be highly critical and highly judgmental because they're coming from a place of wanting perfection. And so they can put that back on themselves and be highly critical and judgmental, not of others, but of themselves. And I feel like that's kind of also a trait, Aries, that you can fall into, that because you're so focused on wanting to take action in a way that you think will directly correlate to your identity and the identity that you give to yourself, but also the identity that you show to the rest of the world, that you are highly judgmental of yourself. And so you'll push yourself and push yourself and push yourself to get it right, get it perfect, dive into those details. And it's not always necessary for us to go that far. And it's not necessary for you to hold yourself to such strict standards when the rest of the world isn't going to be doing that. Most people are so focused on themselves that they're not focused on you doing something at 120%. Most people just want you to get the basic job done, and that's it, because they're so focused on themselves and what they're doing. So there's this element that's coming through strongly on an intuitive level with these two cards, is it's time to start having fun again. Release the judgment. Know that you are fully capable of creating whatever you'd like in your external environment, but that you've lost a little sight of the present, in like losing sight of the present to the future. So this week, ask yourself the question, what have you been highly judgmental about with yourself? Where have you been so focused on when this happens, when I get this experience, when I become a better writer, when I yada and so forth, when my partner finally steps up to do X, Y, Z, and realize it's time to stop and put that aside. It's time for you to get back into your place of personal power. Now, for me, I have a strange intuitive side to me where I've always seen colors with numbers. So even from a child, I would see numbers written on a page and I would see colors identified with them. And the number 8 is always, for me, I associate with the color orange, with this color specifically. And the number 8 in numerology signifies personal power. And I really feel like that's what you're being asked to step into again, is your personal power, but your autonomous personal power, not how it's tied to something external to yourself. So either another person or to a job or to what you have to show to other people, possessions. It's about getting down to kind of the nitty-gritty, clearing out the house and realizing it's all down to the power of your ability to create, and you have that ability. You are the hero in your own story, and if you are Superman, then you have the ability to fly, if that's what you want. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like whatever you want for yourself, you have the ability to create it for yourself. So where right now have you where in your life have you been so focused on when this happens, and then holding yourself critically or viewing yourself critically and saying, well, when I get a little better, if I can just put in a couple more years, then I'll apply to the next step up in here, or I just need to work a few more hours every day to really show the boss like how good I am, or whatever it is. And it's like, no. It's not about draining yourself or learning a little bit more. Yes, we can always be educating ourselves to grow on certain levels, but you right now need to step back into the power of the present moment, of realizing at any given moment, it's about realizing that you have that ability to create, to be the hero in your own story. That if you have a wall sitting in front of you in your external environment, you have the ability to create the ladder or the rope or the walking shoes that will walk you 5 miles down and around the wall. Whatever it is, you have the ability to create, to be able to overcome that challenge or that obstacle, to be able to realize what you're wanting to realize. And that's the real message coming through here just in this moment, is that I think you're so focused on an obstacle that you're not realizing, hey, I just need to, it's preventing you from being able to live in the present moment because it's not allowing you to further go down your path. It's an obstacle. It's a wall. And by staying in the moment and getting back to the present moment, this is when you realize, oh, okay, what can I do to get around, over, or move through this wall? Okay. That was kind of a long roundabout way to get to this. Sorry, guys. I was kind of rambling and just letting the message come through, so I hope it did. All right. So now I'm going to pull an energy oracle card for the concept of courage. And courage is where we get to have the courage to start to take conscious action again. And what does conscious action mean? It means that we are aware of our actions and how they have power in our external environment. This is where we get to take responsibility for our lives. We start to realize, as we become conscious of all those little actions that we take, that those actions are what actually shape our life, our perspective of our life, and what we choose to create in the external environment. So this is where we step into our seat of free will and personal power, and how we, through free will, engage through our actions with the external environment, or what I like to call the seat of destiny. It reminds us that the control does not lie with us trying to control the external world, because we can't control that. We can't control change that comes in out of the blue. We can't control another person, but we can control our own actions. And it's all the little actions that we take that, if we are aware of ourselves as we're taking those actions, that's when we really start to realize the power. We realize that every little action is important and builds and snowballs into our realization of our reality. All right, so we have Goddess of the Moon, number 52, breaking down to number 7. And we have Man Holding a Coin, number 43, with the number 7. Breaking down to number 7. So you actually have 2 number 7s here. Very interesting. So the number 7 to me always represents, or the number 7 has a lot of ties to the spirit world, or a connection to spirit. But for me, it always brings up this connotation of a divine pause for us to reflect on what is currently in our present moment going on, and for us to be able to step into a place of dialogue or connection with spirit, to be able to see through the eyes of spirit what we're reevaluating. And with Goddess of the Moon, this card really brings forward that powerful message of connecting to your intuition, of harnessing a little bit of the unknown, and being able to, through spirit, through our intuition, kind of help us bolster walking our path on faith. That even if we can't fully see the way forward, that we utilize our intuition and our connection to spirit to be able to do so. And then we have Man Holding a Coin. So there's this element here, I feel a little bit like some of you guys might one of two things, 2 different messages are coming through. That either A, you feel that what's really coming through strongly with this is that I get that some of you guys feel that there's some person in your life that is holding power in a monetary way, or possibly in that somebody holds resources that directly impact or are impacting you right now, and that you feel a little bit of this. You feel a little bit like you don't have the control because your resources are tied up with somebody else. And that there's a little bit of this unknown coming through around that this is what's unclear, that this is where, when we're thinking about taking courageous action, this might have to be where you either extricate yourself from this person that you might feel is holding something from you. Now, this could be in a very literal sense. You have a partner who is the breadwinner and you are not, and you feel disempowered because of that. Or you are working for a workplace and a company or an individual, and they are not paying you what you feel you should be paid. And so you feel they're kind of like holding your ability to make money in their power. that the message is really coming through strongly, that you feel right now disempowered in some way because you feel that your ability to access resources is not within your control. So this week, it's about having the courage to, yes, it might be scary. Yes, it might be that this is the kind of the question mark, the big unknown of, well, what if I move away from this person? It's about, actually, what's really coming through strongly is remembering that you have the ability to create this for yourself. We are never beholden to somebody else to be able to create abundance in our own life, whatever that looks like to you. So again, this could be tangible, that this person's actually withholding money from you, or that you feel like you don't, that, again, if it's a workplace, let's say, that you feel like your earning potential is lying in the hands of a individual or a business, when in reality, your earning potential lies within you. It doesn't lie in the hands of somebody else. We always have the power, right, to take courageous action to go in and make a good case to get a raise. And if they say no, well, then that's when you realize, okay, if I'm feeling like this is not meeting my current earning potential, I'm going to leave this position and seek another. Or if this is an individual in my life, that if somehow I don't feel like I have an equal say in my resources, well, then I need to take action towards balancing that out. Whether it's having a conversation with my significant other and expressing my lack or feeling insecure because I don't have the resources, or expressing in some way I would like to do something to be able to make additional resources. So for instance, it could look like maybe you are the stay-at-home parent and your other, your romantic partner is the breadwinner, and you make a strong case for why you'd like to go back to work. Or you make a strong case for why something within your dynamic of, who runs the household bills or whatever needs to change a little bit. And this does take courage to take action on behalf of yourself. But I think really with this here coming through and the strong creativity coming through, that there's this quality of realizing that your potential or your resources are not tied up with somebody else. It's your perspective of that. And so this week is about being conscious of taking action from a place of, I can create that for myself. Nobody holds anything from me that I can't create for myself. And now if you choose not to take courageous action, you're going to stay in a place of kind of victimization, of a victimhood, of where you are feeling disempowered because you're giving it away to somebody else or something else. So where you can take courageous action is facing that kind of, what will happen if I start to move away from this and start to look to create it on my own. And that can be scary. It can be scary that there is that unknown quality. But again, this is our direct connection to spirit. And this is saying you can walk that path on faith. And you can walk away from this if needed. It's a really strong message of walking away, or bringing the power back to yourself to realize that you too can create that. Now, there's nothing stopping you from doing that except you taking action towards it. Okay, Aries. And then, okay, that's way too many cards. I'm sorry. I'd say if it was 4 or less, maybe that was like 5 or 6. So, all right, what does Aries need to know for the message of contemplation? So now we're going to be pulling a card for the principle of contemplation, which allows us to step into active contemplation. So we move from conscious action into active contemplation. And this is where we get to hold ourselves accountable for the consequences and reactions from the actions that we chose to take. And this allows us to continually self-educate through direct experience with our external environment. But it also allows us to be aware of the consequences of our actions so that we can adjust our actions in the moment to better align ourselves with our spiritual purpose. So if we get a negative reaction the first time we take an action, then we need to go back to step one and be curious. Not to shut down, but to say, why, what part of me taking action helped to create the reaction or the consequence that I am now aware of and contemplating? And where can I now change my actions to change that consequence or to change the next reaction that I get? And this allows us to, again, bring the power back to ourselves, but to become personally aware and responsible for the consequences of our actions. That, again, nothing in our external environment is doing something to us. We, in turn, get the chance to live into it, to engage with it. And I know it's a hard concept sometimes for us to remember when something, let's say we are taking action with the best of intentions and we get a negative consequence or reaction. And that can be very difficult for us to understand and to want to take action again in that realm. But this is where we get to learn and continually unlock those superhero qualities about ourselves, is when we come back to the table and say, okay, I fell off the bike, but what do I need to do now to get back on and change a little bit? And we do that not only on a physical level, but we do that on an emotional and spiritual level as well. Okay, so we have leap. You go first. The universe will catch you. And I love how the moon's coming through again in this. Yes, Aries, it's time. It's time to move away from whatever's currently disempowering you. It's very, very clear. It's time to get back into the moment. Realize that if you're not currently having fun in life, you're being asked to, because that's what this is all about. That's what life is about. Yes, there is suffering involved in life, but we should also experience great moments of fun and joy. And that really can come when we are working with our creativity, when we realize, again, our own power in our experience of our reality. Because we only get to experience the reality from our own perspective. So that's basically like us making our own reality. And there's something in your life right now that is disempowering you that you need to walk away from and move towards the new. And that's what this card is signifying. So when you're contemplating this week in the actions that you're taking, contemplate, are the actions I'm taking moving me away from something that's disempowering me? And how is this making me feel? How is this changing some aspect of my life? How is this bringing me back to the present moment? And how is this helping me engage with the feeling of fun? All right, Aries, I hope that this has been helpful. I know it's kind of a little all over the place, but I think the main message came through very clearly at the end here of it's time to get back into that knowledge of you are able to create your reality. And there's been something here that you've been, I think, a little too afraid to move away from, and it's time to do it. Spirit's saying, we support you. We support you, and we want you to have fun. We want you to live in the moment. We want you to step back into your personal power. And that's in realizing you can create whatever you feel this person or entity is keeping from you. You have the ability to create it for yourself. All right, Aries. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. If you'd like to book a personal tarot reading or a one-on-one live tarot coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. Thank you very much for watching this, as it gives me the chance and outlet to connect on an emotional level with my spiritual purpose. All right. Thank you, Aries. Have a great week.